This is Senior Master Coordinator Bob Ferguson, and it is my delight to yet again have my birthday brother, Rusty Ost. We're in fact born on the same day of the year, not quite the same day, as we
yes,
said many
the
times.
same day, not the same year.
Yeah, exactly the same day, not the same year. Yes, he will always be slightly ahead of me, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. So tonight we are going to be talking about carotenoids and flavonoids, and this is one of a series of talks that I have inveigled Rusty to do for us because he has a remarkable background as as we say it, a weeds and seeds pharmacist. Up until a little while ago, they taught you weeds and seeds and bark and stuff, and no longer. So you're a weeds and seeds pharmacist, so you know a lot about this stuff. And you are a master pharmacist, and you do pharmaceutical consulting for people. You help them if they need to understand, how their medicines are going to interact with nutrients. And you're all around an incredible resource and a great friend, in addition to being my birthday brother. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Rusty.
Off we go. All right. So tonight we're going to talk about carotenoids and flavonoids. And Bob tells me that there will be a spelling test later. So be advised. But
I got both of them wrong when I was doing the announcement. I had to look them up.
well, you get to be as old as I am, you'll know those things.
That's right.
And someday you will be, but I will always be older.
That is the truth.
But both of these phytochemicals, they're called phytochemicals because they exist in plants only, don't exist in any kind of an animal. And so they are responsible for the red, the yellow, the oranges, and the fruits and the vegetables. And these pigments play an important role in plant health. And people who eat foods containing carotenoids get the protective benefits as well. They're a class of phytonutrients or plant chemicals that are found in a wide variety of plants, algae, and bacteria. They help plants absorb light for use in photosynthesis. They also have an important antioxidant function of deactivating free radicals. And free radicals are those boogers that get in our system by some sort of pollution, whether it's air or water or whatever, that are harmful to our body. And the antioxidants deactivate these free radicals to make them harmless. And so, and they do this in humans. They have strong cancer fighting properties, according to the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Some carotenoids are converted to vitamin A, which is essential for vision and growth and things like that. And so carotenoid containing foods are often red, yellow, or orange, but not always. That's always the disclaimer, but not always. Carrots, yams, sweet potatoes, papayas, watermelon, cantaloupe, mangoes, spinach, kale, tomatoes, bell peppers, oranges. Think of things that are red, yellow, or orange. Now, here's an interesting point. Animals, and we as humans are animals, we are not plants. And so animals cannot manufacture carotenoids. They have to get it in their diets. And so carotenoids need to be consumed with a fat in order for the body to absorb them, because the carotenoids are fat soluble. They're lipid soluble. They're attracted to the lipids. And they need to leave the food that they came in and become part of the mixed, they're called micelles, which are combinations of bile salts and lipids. And the presence of fat makes this possible. So carotenoids are going to be best absorbed and utilized when consumed with fat. And so anyway, let's look at what some of the carotenoids are. And these names will be on the spelling test. Lycopene, alpha carotene, beta carotene, these are the carotenes, and they make up part of the carotenoids. And most of us are familiar with beta carotene, and we see lycopene, and we're not as familiar with alpha carotene. But anyway, the carotenoids are either provitamin A or non-provitamin A. And the provitamin A carotenoids can be turned into vitamin A in the gut or in the liver. And vitamin A is an important component to human health. We know that. Helps maintain eye health, helps maintain healthy mucous membranes, and it also improves our immunity. And alpha carotene, beta carotene, and beta cryptoxanthin are the provitamin A carotenoids. We'll look later at the others, but anyway, lycopene is a bright red pigment responsible for the color watermelon, tomatoes, guavas, and researchers found that of all of the carotenoids, lycopene was the most effective at deactivating those free radicals that we talked about. Because it has a unique molecular shape that's highly effective in deactivating them. Lycopene is also associated with reduced prostate cancer risk. A large-scale study of nearly 50,000 men published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute found an inverse relationship between lycopene levels and prostate cancer. Men with the highest lycopene were 21% less likely to develop prostate cancer than those with the lowest lycopene levels. Lycopene may also promote bone health, help prevent the development of osteoporosis. A study published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that participants with higher levels of lycopene in their blood were less likely to experience hip or non-vertebral fracture. Furthermore, a study published in Osteoporosis International found that postmenopausal women who added lycopene to their diets for 4 months, saw decreased bone resorption or breakdown of bones, as well as increased antioxidant activity and decreased oxidative stress markers. Additionally, lycopene may decrease stroke risk, at least in men. According to a 12-year study published in Neurology, middle-aged men with the highest levels of lycopene in their blood had a 55% reduced rate of any kind of stroke. They had a 59% reduced rate of strokes from blood clots, which are the most common kind.
Wow.
Now, alpha carotene, that we don't know much about, produces half the vitamin A that beta carotene does. And it's found in similar foods to beta carotene, often studied in conjunction with beta carotene, though it is rarer and less well understood. Recent studies have been paying more attention to alpha carotene and have found some potential longevity benefits in addition to the vitamin A goodness alpha carotene can provide. A study published in Archives of Internal Medicine found a correlation between alpha carotene intake and longevity. Looking at the results from the 14-year study, researchers found that high blood levels of alpha carotene were inversely associated with cancer, death, cardiovascular disease, and other illnesses. A Japanese study published in the Journal of Epidemiology found that participants with the highest blood levels of alpha carotene were less likely to die from heart disease, even less likely than participants with high beta carotene levels. So these carotenes and these are really important for our health. But let's look at the other two, and the lutein and the zeaxanthin. And these are also commonly, you see it commonly in print. They're very popular supplements today. But there are actually 600 kinds of carotenoids. And so this brings up a point, I do believe, Bob, that necessitates the need for a naturally sourced carotenoid rather than a synthetically sourced carotenoid. Because with a naturally sourced carotenoid, you get the other stuff. You just don't get the beta carotene, or you just don't get the lutein and the zeaxanthin. You get all 600 of them. And so that makes a strong statement for sourcing a natural supplement of carotenoids. So lutein and zeaxanthin are associated primarily with eye health. The drugstores and health food stores are full of supplements, and we just don't know how well they work. But studies often don't separate lutein and zeaxanthin because they're the only carotenoids found in the retina, the only ones. Lutein and zeaxanthin are accumulated in human retina at the macula lutea, and that's responsible for central vision and protects the retina from blue light. And you know, that's the light that causes ionization and damage of the retina. That's why some people wear glasses that filter out blue light. And supplements, again, are necessary because, well, not supplement, you need to consume these products because your body can't make them. Lutein and zeaxanthin are likely effective in age-related macular degeneration, a leading cause of blindness. A 6-year study from the National Eye Institute concluded that lutein reduces the risk of macular degeneration. It's been shown to reduce the incidence of cataracts and light sensitivity if consumed in adequate quantities on a daily basis, quote unquote. National Eye Institute. Lutein could also be good for the heart. It's known to prevent the formation of atherosclerosis, which is composed of those plaques that restrict blood flow to the heart muscle, because those plaques attach to the inside of the coronary arteries. And when it restricts flow enough, you get a heart attack. When lutein is in the blood, it can have an antioxidant effect on cholesterol, thereby preventing cholesterol from building up in the arteries and clogging them. A study in Circulation found that participants who added lutein supplements to their diet had less arterial wall thickening than those who did not. So good sources of lutein and zeaxanthin include kale, spinach, turnip greens. We all eat that every day. Oh, summer yeah. Squash, pumpkin, paprika, yellow fleshed fruits, and avocados. Lutein is also available through enriched eggs. And I have to be honest, I had to look that up. Enriched eggs. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that lutein from enriched eggs was better absorbed than lutein from spinach. So I had to Google enriched eggs. And you ought to do that, because it says you can buy enrichment, whatever enrichment entails. You can even get a vegetarian egg.
Now you're getting way off in the weeds.
I'll let you think about that for a minute. Vegetarian eggs. Okay, so let's do a summary here of the carotenoids. We spent a lot of time, but what did we learn? You know, as far as eye health goes, eating carotenoid-rich foods can protect the healthy cells in the eye and prevent the growth of cancerous cells. One of the leading causes of blindness is macular degeneration. And, you know, the carotenoids fight that. They fight blue light exposure. And the carotenoids, lutein and zeaxanthin, found in the retina help to absorb that blue light to protect you. Studies show that incorporating lutein in your diet every day can decrease your risk of developing macular degeneration by 43%. Increasing the amount of lutein and zeaxanthin in your diet can also help slow or halt current eye damage and prevent your current condition from progressing. So that's good news. Cardiovascular health, carotenoids acting as antioxidants lower inflammation in the body. Though it's still being researched, carotenoid anti-inflammatory properties have been associated with improving heart health. Reducing inflammation helps protect against heart disease. We know that, and prevents arterial walls from being blocked. As far as cancer, the antioxidant protects cells from free radicals or substances that destroy or damage cell membranes. And so, carotenoids have been associated with lowering cancer risk, specifically lung cancer. Carotenoids have been associated with reducing the risk of skin cancer. Some carotenoids can break down into vitamin A. We learned that, a nutrient that protects against premature skin damage from sun exposure. And so what do we do if we don't like to eat kale and, several servings a day, all of that? So we have a chance here to make a difference in what we eat through supplementation. And Shaklee makes a product called Carotemax. I remember when Shaklee had a product called beta carotene. But as research found that the other carotenoids, the alpha carotene, the zeaxanthin and the luteins and all of those, Shaklee changed their antioxidant formula from beta carotene to Carotemax because it has all of the carotenoids, all 600 of them. Beta carotene, 102 servings of bananas. I just can't see that. Astaxanthin, one serving of salmon. I could do a serving of salmon. Lycopene and 714 servings of apricots. Is anyone hungry?
As they say, that's not easy to do every day, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not easy to do even one day. Alpha carotene, 80 servings of raspberries. Now, I love raspberries, but there's no way I could eat 80 servings. So, and lutein and zeaxanthin, 285 servings of pink grapefruit. This is phenomenal. I believe that Shaklee has come up with a way that we can safely consume high levels of carotenoids. I mean, if you compare the amounts that you see there on the screen in one capsule. And so that's really good news. But we're going to move now and we're going to talk about the flavonoids, because if we have the carotenoids, why do we even need the flavonoids? Well, if you remember, the carotenoids are lipid soluble, fat soluble. The flavonoids are water soluble. They're a diverse group of phytonutrients, again, plant chemicals, so man can't make them, found in almost all fruits and vegetables. Along with the carotenoids, they're responsible for the vivid colors. Flavonoids are the largest group of phytonutrients with more than 6,000 types. Some of the best known flavonoids are quercetin and camphorol. In recent years, scientists have turned to various flavonoids to explain some of the health benefits associated with diets rich in fruits and vegetables. Like other phytonutrients, flavonoids are powerful antioxidants with anti-inflammatory and immune system benefits. Diets rich in flavonoid-containing foods are sometimes associated with reduced risk of cancer, neurodegenerative, and cardiovascular disease. Things like onions, tea, strawberries, kale, grapes. There's that kale stuff again. Brussels sprouts, citrus fruit, parsley, and many spices are just a few of the natural foods rich in flavonoids. They're part of the polyphenols, and they're historically been used. Polyphenols have historically been used in Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine. They're associated with skin protection, brain function, blood sugar and blood pressure regulation, in addition to antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. Flavonoids are most commonly and widely distributed group of plant phenolic compounds. occurring virtually in all plant parts, particularly the photosynthesizing plant cells. They are a major coloring component of flowering plants. And they're an integral part of the human and animal diet, and they must be, because we cannot make them. So let's take a look at some more spelling tests things. The first ones are the anthocyanins. They're water soluble. They're pigments responsible for most of the red, blue, and purple colors of fruits, vegetables, flowers, and other plant tissues or products. Anthocyanins are widely distributed in the human diet. They're found in red wine. That's good. Certain varieties of cereals and vegetables, but they're more abundant in fruit. Food contents are generally proportional to color intensity. Anthocyanins are found mainly in the skin of the plant, except for some red fruits like cherries and strawberries, and which are also present in the flesh of the fruit. Anthocyanins are part of a general class of chemical elements called flavonoids or bioflavonoids. The big deal is their antioxidant values, because they help they help combat those free radicals that we really can't avoid in today's society. They're good for the blood, circulatory system, hearts and lungs, other parts of the body, help to prevent inflammation, infection, and viruses. Scientists find also antioxidant values to be helpful in limiting the risk of certain cancers. So in addition to the anthocyanins, we have these things called flavanones. And these have some name, hesperetin is probably the most common component, most common flavanone. They're found abundantly in citrus fruits. They're associated with cardiovascular health, relaxation, and overall antioxidant and anti-inflammatory action. Then we have the isoflavones, and many of us who have been around for a while understand that the value of soy protein is in the isoflavones, the genistein and things like that. And these are the isoflavones that don't show up in synthetic soy products. Oftentimes they are not even in tofu, but they're highly concentrated in soybeans and soy products, as well as other legumes. Isoflavones are phytoestrogens, meaning that they are chemicals that act like the hormone estrogen, except that they are plant sourced rather than animal sourced. And the deal about estrogens is that animal sourced estrogens can be both beneficial and harmful. Phytoestrogens can only be beneficial. Scientists suspect that they may be beneficial in lowering the risk of hormonal cancers, such as breast cancer, endometrial cancer, and prostate cancer. And so isoflavones sometimes act as antioxidants and sometimes as oxidants, so their effect on cancer is unclear. But they are also now being studied as a way to treat menopausal symptoms, and we're aware of that too. So next we're going to go to the confusing part of the spelling test, because there are flavanols and flavonols. And the flavanols, and you do not have to memorize the chemical structures, but they are the primary types. They're called monomers or catechins, which are non-repeating chemical structures. And then they have the dimers and the polymers, which are repeating. But the flavanols are found in teas, cocoa, grapes, apples, berries, fava beans, and red wine. Monomers or catechins are especially common in green and white teas, while the dimers are the repeating structures are associated with lowering cholesterol. They're found in black tea. Scientists suspect catechins might be useful in aiding chronic fatigue syndrome symptoms, and they're also associated with heart and neurological health. The flavonols are a widely distributed subgroup of flavonoids, and this is where the quercetin and the camphorol come in. They're found in onions and leeks, Brussels sprouts, kale, broccoli, tea, berries, wheat, beans, apples, things like that. Quercetin is an antihistamine that's associated with helping to relieve hay fever and hives. It's also known for its anti-inflammatory effects. And so let's review what we've learned about the flavonoids. And, you know, longevity, for example, a large-scale 25-year study published in the journal Archives of Internal Medicine looked at men across 7 countries and found that flavonoid consumption was significantly associated with longevity. That's good news. The researchers suggested flavonoid consumption could account for 25% of the observed difference in mortality rates from coronary heart disease and cancer. Weight management. Flavonoids are associated with inflammation and weight loss. Flavonoid content can relieve inflammation and decrease the levels of an appetite-suppressing hormone, leptin. We know for sure that leptin plays an important role in food consumption because mice with mutations in leptin or its receptor become obese. And so this is appropriate for weight management. Cardiovascular disease. Once again, they're antioxidant, anti-inflammatory behaviors. Flavonoids are associated with cardiovascular disease prevention. According to studies, flavonoids may lower the risk of atherosclerosis through protecting LDL cholesterol from radical damage. It's when LDL cholesterol gets oxidized that it creates a problem. Several studies have found an association between higher flavonoid intake and lower cholesterol or lower cardiovascular disease risk across various groups, including people like postmenopausal women, male smokers, middle-aged men and women. For example, a study of more than 10,000 men and women published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that those with higher levels of quercetin had lower rates of ischemic heart disease, and those with higher levels of camphorol and hesperetin had lower cerebrovascular disease rates. Various flavonoids have shown to be effective at preventing platelet aggregation. And platelet aggregation is a known component in heart disease because it contributes to forming those blood clots that cause strokes and heart attacks. Diabetes, a study published in 2013 in the Journal of Diabetic Medicine, found that among men with type 2 diabetes, adding a flavonoid-rich spice mix to hamburger meat improved their vascular function during subsequent hours. The spice included things like garlic, ginger, black pepper, oregano, all of the spices that contain flavonoids. As far as cancer prevention, the most promising studies to date regard breast and stomach cancer. A large study published by the British Journal of Cancer found that women with higher levels of flavone intake were at a lower risk for developing breast cancer, while a study in cancer causes and control found a correlation between flavonoid intakes and reduced gastric cancer risk. Though flavonoids exhibit powerful antioxidant activity, they exist in relatively low concentration in the bloodstream when compared to antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E, and this may lower their overall antioxidant power, but they still are effective. Neurodegenerative disease prevention, again, the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects help protect against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. A large scale published in the European Journal of Epidemiology found that among elderly men and women, those with the highest level of flavonoids had a 50% lower risk of developing dementia over the next 5 years than those with the lowest levels of flavonoid intake. They also increase blood flow to the brain, improving cognitive function. A study published in the American Journal of Epidemiology found that elderly men and women with higher flavonoid intake had better cognitive performance at the start of the study and significantly less age-related cognitive decline over the next 10 years than those with lower flavonoid intake. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty good to an old guy like me. So what are we going to do? Well, once again, Shackley, our brand partner, has come up with a solution, remembering that two things. Number one, you cannot produce flavonoids, nor can you produce carotenoids. They have to be consumed. Number two, our diets today are not conducive to eating 114 bananas a day or whatever those figures were. And so this product has 10 milligrams of blueberry extract. It's got elderberry, grapeseed. We know how good an antioxidant that is. Green tea extract. I blame that on my grandma living to be at ripe old age. Lemon bioflavonoids, citrus bioflavonoids, passion flower, quercetin. The one quercetin is the one bioflavonoid that gets the most press because it seems to be the one that does the most. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. And so I would entertain questions if anyone wants to do that.
Right. So why don't we, there's a Q&A. Okay, so Tessie says, what role does elderberry play in this product?
In the
It looks like
Flavonomax? Well,
yeah, it looks like elderberry extract. Yeah.
it's because it's a source of, because it's a berry and it's a deep purple berry and it's a source of bioflavonoids. These things all are in different bioflavonoids, but remember there's 6,000 of them. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, you'd be happy to know, birthday brother, that I have some legacy elderberry bushes that I planted, transplanted here about 5-6 years ago, and they are finally fruiting this year. And I've got a big one that has a whole bunch of elderberries. So I know my mom on the farm in northwestern Missouri made elderberry jam and elderberry. I don't know whether they made elderberry wine. Some people did, but yeah, this is such terrific information. Let's see, another question. Where are the leptins located? Where are they a flavonoid or carotenoid? Leptins, or which one are they?
I'd have to look. I don't know the answer.
Okay, good. See, truthful. And there's 6,000 of them. So is there any other questions, any other thoughts before we close up? Yeah, good. Susan says, I stumped Rusty. That's hard to do. That's a good thing. We can Google. We can ask Mr. Google about that later on. Okay, 600 or 6,000? You said 6,000, right? Or
6,000 different yeah, 6,000 different flavonoids.
Wow, and Tessie says leptin for a flat tummy. How cool. Okay, well, Rusty, this is just extraordinary information. We will put our heads together and figure out which.
I don't believe that leptin is a carotenoid or a flavonoid.
Ah, okay. That's
because it exists. It exists in fish, meat, turkey, chicken.
Gotcha.
Stuff like that, and because meaning that it's not a phytochemical.
Yeah, it's something that some mammals' body produces.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so we will again, we'll put our heads together, Rusty, and we will come up with some more of these talks. I think that it's very, very important that we understand the power of the products that may not be our hero products, that are ones that we sell every day, but are just extraordinarily important. One of the things that I think is really important to emphasize, Rusty, and I'm sure you agree with me, that Shaklee doesn't make products randomly. In other words, just because some combination of Eye of Newt and Batwing is something that everyone is selling, Shaklee won't run out and do that. They'll look at the market, and typically, as is the case with some of the products that you're going to be seeing coming out in the at conference, they'll wait until they really understand A, the market, and B, what's really needed, and C, the science. Then they come out with a product that is absolutely the best in the market. And I think that's something that we can all kind of hang our hat on and be proud of as Shaklee distributors. So,
well, and that's exactly right. And the new product that we just got, the turmeric,
yep,
is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
You know, it was not the first to the marketplace, but without question, it's the best.
Yeah, no, and that's something that is such a, to me, it's such a comfort, and it really helps me feel even better about what I'm doing as the Shaklee distributor. So, so Susan said, so hormone released from the fat cells located in adipose tissues. Well, there you go. So we see we crowdsource our knowledge here too.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that was leptin, I guess. That was the answer on that. So
It was the leptin.
okay, so folks, thank you very much for being with us. And we will see you next week. Let's see, I don't recall what our subject is for next week, but whatever it is, it's going to be really, really good. So we'll see you all the next time. And Rusty, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Bob.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.